Have you ever heard of the concept from the sales industry called kiss or kill? Sounds a little violent, right? Well, it's not really what you think. These are both acronyms for communication styles. The problem is if you choose the wrong one during your sales communication process, you will absolutely lose the sale. So in this video today, I'm going to share with you 6 unique tips on how you can improve your communication skill in any situation. So if you want to be a better communicator, stay tuned. Q&A Tuesday, all your voice questions answered. Hi, I'm 𝒉𝒂𝒗𝒆, holistic voice and presentation coach and founder of the Voice of Confidence public speaker training program. And today we're talking about communication skills. Kiss or kill. Now, kiss is short for keeping it short and simple. And kill, on the other hand, is keeping it long and lengthy. An amateur salesperson will actually go on and on and on about unimportant details and end up killing the sale. While a more experienced salesperson, on the other hand, will hit all the important points in the shortest time frame possible, closing the sale much more easily. Now, let's dive into the 6 unique tips on how to improve your communication skills for sales and for life. Tip number 1, be efficient with your speaking. Conversation is all about quality, not quantity. The first step is to remove all your filler words, like like, you know, well, so. These tiny little words bring absolutely no value to the conversation. Listen to this conversation. What did you do last summer? Well, I had an okay time during the holidays. We went water skiing. Yeah, it was like, a bit harder than I thought. Now, compare that to this. What did you do last summer? I went water skiing with some of my friends this summer. It was great. It was actually a lot harder than I thought. Notice that the second version is much shorter, but the information being conveyed is exactly the same. However, because it's short and succinct, it sounds far more confident and sophisticated. Tip number 2, use strategic pauses instead of fillers. Don't be afraid to use pauses and silence instead of using filler words. Pauses used correctly can really be powerful and be used to emphasize different parts of your message. Let's look at that original statement one more time with strategic pauses now in place. I went water skiing with my friends this summer. Yeah, it was great, but actually it was a lot harder than I thought. You see, as you're speaking, see where you can insert a strategic pause instead of a filler to emphasize parts of the message. That will make your message more powerful and meaningful as a whole. Tip number 3, conversational threading. Conversational threading is the ability to branch off into a completely different topic. It helps you be able to communicate confidently with anybody at any time and comes in extremely handy. If someone says to you this, for example, I live in LA, but I've always wanted to live in Australia. I don't like being in the city anymore and I want to move somewhere more beautiful, quiet and laid back. Well, if you look at that, now you have about 4 topics that you can talk about. You could talk about the time you visited LA. You could talk about how you lived in the city too. You could also talk about how it is to live in Australia, or how you're an introvert and how you can relate to their need for more connection with nature. When a conversation dies or becomes awkward, it's because you haven't learned how to use conversational threading to keep the conversation moving. Make sure as you're speaking, you give the other person multiple chances to do the same thing by adding variety and interest into your own part of the conversation. Tip number 4, use statements instead of too many questions. Next time you have a conversation with a friend, someone you have built rapport with over time, you'll notice that the majority of your conversation is made with statements, not questions. See, if we ask too many questions, it might feel like an interrogation instead of a conversation. One of the most common types of statements is the story or opinion statement. This is a great example of a short story statement. When I was a young girl, I really wanted to be an actress, but every time I went to an audition or a performance, I would feel like I was going to die of stage fright. You see, instead of asking a direct question to the other person, now you've given a short piece of personal information that can be picked up as a thread and used by the other person to continue the conversation and build upon the idea. Tip number 5, cold read statement. This statement is simply an observation that you can make about the other person. Instead of asking a question like, hey, what do you do for fun? Which is a direct question, you could actually do this instead. Hey, you look like you have a sense of fun. I bet you have some interesting hobbies. The other person could correct you, of course, and tell you that you're absolutely wrong, and then start up a thread in that vein. Sure. Or they could in fact open up the conversation with, wow, thanks. I actually love singing karaoke and I train horses on the side. Each one of these ways gives you a chance to branch off into different topics without making the conversation too one-sided. You're sharing a little information first and then opening the door for more conversation to follow. Tip number 6, random statements. These are just free-flowing thoughts that literally pop into your head. You can make an observation about something else going on in the room or what's happening in the world right now. Or simply observe someone having fun and comment, wouldn't it be great to have more fun in our lives? Any of these ideas share more about yourself, how you think, and how you operate in the world, which makes it much easier for the other person to be honest and open with you as well. See, open and direct communication builds rapport fast. It also brings a sense of creativity and spontaneity to the conversation. Remember, having open and good communication and learning conversation skills is just that, a skill. And just like any other skill, you'll gain great value from learning it. The important thing is that you've got to go out and practice putting this new skill into action. By practicing the tips and the tricks that you learned today, you'll find that you experience a massive improvement in your future conversations with others. Drop a comment below and let me know if you found it helpful today, and I'll see you in the next video.